You ever met that type of person that has done an incredible amount of interesting things in their life and they just really don't brag about it? Well, that's our guest today. Today we're talking with Gary List. Now, Gary, you're from Secor, Illinois, is that right?
Yes.
Where's that at?
Oh, it's about 10 miles east of Eureka.
Yeah.
It's between El Paso and Eureka.
Is that where you're from originally?
No, I grew up in Washington, which is about 10 miles east of Peoria.
Does Secor, does it have one of those Casey's?
Does it what?
Does it have a Casey's?
I don't know. I've never been in the town of Secor. We live on a small farm way out in the boondocks.
You live on a farm there, but you've never been into town?
No.
How big is it?
I really can't say.
No.
It's just a little kind of a...
It must not be that big.
Well, it's a fat spot in the road.
Gary, this is what kills me. You say you always knew you wanted to work in a chemistry lab.
Yes.
From like how old did you know that?
I would say I was probably 12 or 13.
Yeah. Why 12 or 13? You're supposed to be, I don't know, playing Army or something like that, but you wanted to create stuff.
I did. I don't want to go. I don't have enough time to go into a lot of detail, but I stopped by our local library one afternoon, checked out a couple books. They were biographies of Thomas Edison and Michael Faraday. Edison was the great inventor. Faraday was the probably one of the most outstanding scientists of the 19th century. He discovered the laws of electromagnetism, laid the foundation for generating electricity and so on. So,
Faraday cages, right?
what?
Faraday cages, like if you have an electric pulse or whatever, he invented or he figured out.
Yeah. He was a brilliant guy. That set the wheels in motion. I want to be a scientist.
Okay.
My senior year in high school, an Army recruiter visited our school.
Yeah.
And I learned that the Army had use for Chemical Corp people to do lab work. So they promised me if I enlisted, that school would be guaranteed to me. And,
was this during a war?
No. It was circa 1960.
Okay.
So I did. I enlisted, and true to their word, I was sent to the Chemical Corp school. I graduated. At the time, I could have been sent to Dugway Proving Ground.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's they test the effects of various warfare agents on animals.
Oh, the nasty stuff.
Bad stuff. Works well when the wind blows in the right direction, but but anyway, the third place I could have been sent was Edgewood Arsenal in Maryland, where all the chemical warfare research was being conducted. I interviewed with a civilian biochemist, and he asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I've always dreamed of working in a lab. And he said, fine, you'll be my technician. So in the group was a black lady whose husband worked down the hall. So I got to know him, and I'll never forget, I was sitting in a chair across from him, and he said, List, what are you going to do while you're here? Well, it's always been my hope to be a work in a chemical lab for Dr. Michelle. He said, well, let me give you some good advice.
Uh-huh.
Don't waste your time here drinking beer and chasing the girls.
Why not?
Well, he said, take extension courses from the University of Maryland, which were taught on post.
Yeah.
So I took up his advice, and I managed to accumulate a year's credit, college credit, in chemistry, history, psychology, and a lot of other pseudo-useless courses.
Good night.
What?
Hey, that's a lot.
Yeah. So that was I think, really a turning point. When I was discharged, I had intended to come back to Edgewood as a civilian. However, at the time I was discharged, there weren't any positions open. So I thought, well, my family's back home, I don't have any money, I don't have a car, I don't have a place to live. Well, that's not an option. So I learned that there was a big ag lab in Peoria.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was there. So I went over and interviewed there, and they wanted to hire me. And
To do what?
What?
To do what?
Work in a lab.
Oh, to be a scientist.
Yeah, well, a technician, you know, instead of doing a lot of thinking, you do a lot of work.
Okay.
But anyway, I was fortunate enough to be put in a group that composed of a lot of senior scientists, you know,
Okay.
age 50 and above, and
People that knew what they were doing.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And here you were, this young kid.
yeah, I was 21, and I looked at those guys, and I thought, man, those guys are ancient.
Yeah.
Well, 50 doesn't seem so ancient anymore.
No.
But at any rate, you know, they didn't care if I had a PhD or a MS or a BS or any advanced
Because
degree.
what do you have? You had associates?
No,
Not even that.
not even that.
Okay.
So they gave me really a lot of challenging assignments, which helped my career. So in about 7 or 8 years, I had topped out as a technician. I couldn't go any higher. And my boss told me, look, if you want to advance further, you need more education. Well, at the time I was married, had two little kids. So I decided to enroll in our junior college there in East Peoria, ICC.
Oh, yeah. Harvard on the Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finished my degree, and I met the minimum requirements for a professional chemist.
Okay.
I fought for 2 years to be reclassified. And finally it came through, and
Well, you've been doing it though, right?
yeah,
But you just,
well,
this was so you could move up in your career. Even though you had the on-job experience, you needed
yeah.
something.
Well, you see, one of the requirements to do that was not only education, but 1 year's experience as a chemist. Well, I didn't have 1 year's experience as a chemist. So, to make a long story short, from 1975 to 1981, I was promoted 3 times.
Okay.
Then my career hit a brick wall.
Why?
Not a PhD.
So it was your lack of
lack of an
book
advanced degree.
education. Okay.
Yeah.
Did that annoy you?
What?
Did that tick you off?
Yes.
I knew the answer to that before I asked the question.
Well, it just made me more determined that I was going to beat the system. I got a chance to take a supervisory role, assume more responsibility,
Okay.
and I was finally promoted after sitting 17 years in grade. Then,
Where were you working then?
pardon?
Where were you working then?
At USDA, where I started.
At the USDA. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
where I started. Then, as time went on, some good things happened to me. I got some awards, and my career picked up, and it was time to be reevaluated for another promotion.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll give it a shot. Again, failure.
Well, you got to bribe people.
Well,
We're in Illinois. You're working for the government.
You got to be persistent.
Well, that too, if you want to do it the hard way.
You're not defeated until you quit. So I appealed the decision, and the panel was overridden, and I finally got my promotion.
You did that with an associate, so that
Yeah.
was always the problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So this board or this panel finally saw your worth in what you were, and not just your diploma, and you got the promotion.
got my promotion.
Okay, that had to feel good.
It did. You know, I shouldn't say this. I've gotten a lot of recognition, but the satisfaction of beating these jackals running the lab.
Well, it would annoy me. It would annoy me that, and I'm going to speak for you because you're humble. If I was better at the job, that I was not getting promoted because of some document, a piece of paper saying that I got whatever degree. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we all react differently to adversity.
Okay. Yeah, I think you and I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cuss more than you do.
There's two plans. You either give up,
Yeah.
or it's full speed ahead, armor out in front, infantry behind.
You have been acknowledged, though. Just recently, the American Soybean Association gave you the Pinnacle Award.
Yes.
That's like the top dog.
The highest award given by the association, and it's meant to honor a lifetime of achievement benefiting the soybean industry. So I was really kind of surprised, but
That's a big award. I know what that award means coming from that organization.
yeah.
So, but that's not the only one. You've had a lot of recognition for your accomplishments and what you've given back to not only just agriculture, but what you've given back to the world.
Yeah.
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 I know this stuff is extremely important to you, but talking to you, I think what's more important to you is your faith.
Well, I grew up in a Christian home, stable two-parent family. Dad was a breadwinner. Mom ran the house. We attended a rather liberal church. I won't mention which one, but salvation depended on church membership, baptism,
Uh-huh.
and the sacraments. Once you had all those bases covered, you were good to go.
Well, that sounds nice.
What?
That sounds nice. Just $20 in the basket every week, and you're
Well, you know,
straight up.
we didn't have to pay penances like they did during the Dark Ages, but So, you know, I kind of abandoned organized religion. Mainly because I didn't see a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I didn't hear the gospel till I was 40 years old. My wife and I, well, it's a long story. When I proposed to her, she said, well, under two conditions. Number one, you stay out of the beer halls, and number two, you attend church with me. I said, well, okay, I can do that.
You're just trying to seal the deal.
Yeah.
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 I got
yeah.
you.
Yeah, they're quite adept at setting the hook. I'm kidding. So setting under a rather ultra-conservative fire and brimstone preacher, I finally came to salvation. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Mm-hmm. You just don't talk the talk. You guys are living the life. How many kids?
Well, we have 4.
Okay, tell me
Two boys,
about that.
2 girls.
Yep.
7 grandkids. So both my wife and I have always believed that child ministry is extremely important, because if children aren't nurtured in the admonition of Christ, the world will get them eventually. You know, they'll be into drugs and drinking and all sorts of
Tomfoolery.
what?
All sorts of tomfoolery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did for 40 years. I know. But we have taken a number of mission trips together. My wife made 2 trips to Mongolia to teach English.
Mongolia?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, we had friends on the mission field there. So they asked her if she would not come over and teach English.
You guys, you were also foster parents, right?
Yeah, yeah. My wife was trained as a music teacher and taught for 1 year, and then took a job with a music company here in Peoria. Mm-hmm. She worked there, I don't know, 10, 12 years, and decided that God had called her into full-time ministry. So she quit her job and went to Camp Good News. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a Christian camp located north of Washington.
Okay.
But we decided that we would do foster parenting. So we did that, oh gosh, for, I don't know, a long time. We had, at one, over the long haul, we had probably 20 different kids.
I always thought that would be hard, because you'd get attached and then they got to leave.
These kids come from dysfunctional families. Many of them have been abused physically, sexually, emotionally. Mm-hmm. They don't bond well with people because every adult in their life has failed them, and it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But you know,
But it's worth
they
it.
put the wrong people in foster homes. They would put the parents in foster homes. Really, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. But we ended up adopting two of the children.
But you guys fought through it.
What?
But you guys fought through it.
We did.
Yeah.
I've been to enough dissolution hearings to make me want to walk up and punch the judge out.
But that would be wrong.
Yes. So anyway, We took a couple mission trips to California. My wife took 3 of our foster kids to Mexico.
Oh, wow. Like I said,
Tribes.
you guys aren't just talking the talk, you're walking the
Well,
walk. Yeah.
it's that's what
Just say
believers
yes.
are
You're
commanded
too
to
humble.
do. What?
You're too humble. Just say yes.
Well, I guess if you've done it, it's not bragging, but no.
Gary, what's if people want to find you on TikTok, what's your handle?
What's my what? TikTok.
Yeah. What's your handle on TikTok? Gary, we're running out of time.
I wonder why.
Gary, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I
Well,
really
I want
do.
to thank you for giving me a venue to kind of vent my spleen.
I think you're going to have your own show now.
No, nobody cares anymore. And
Oh, I think you.
well, that's part of the problem.
I think more people would listen to you than you realize.
I don't know.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you for all the work you've done for not just agriculture, but the work you've done to help the world in all the things. I mean, you've done a lot of good. You've solved a lot of problems. You've gotten some awards, but honestly, probably not enough for your contributions. Yeah, this isn't your opinion. This is me talking. Yeah, you don't get to disagree with this.
No.
I know to win that Pinnacle Award from the soybean says a lot about you, because that's not just work. That looks at a person's character, that too. So, yeah, I definitely want to thank you for all the things that you've. Are you uncomfortable now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because your wife says you don't like to take compliments. And you have to ride home with her.
No, I've never forgotten who I am and where I came from.
I don't know if that's advice or not, but that's some of the best things you could say. People do kind of get wrapped up in things, and you've had a lot of adversities in that. So with the silly thing over your diploma and your degree, the way that you overcame that, the way you fought through that, I think a lot of people can take lessons in that.
If nothing else, it inspires someone to crawl out of poverty and their current situation. Wife and I have done evangelism in one of the inner cities schools here in Peoria, and those kids, most of them are extremely bright. They're not stupid like the sociologists have been telling us for generations. But they're trapped in poverty and are convinced that there's no future for them. That's not true. If young people would apply themselves in school, acquire some education, work hard, play by the rules, as unfair as they may be, they can succeed. And I recall we had a very bright young man in our school. I asked him, I said, what would you like to be when you grow up? He said, well, I'd love to be a doctor, but I can't. I said, what do you mean you can't? You can do anything you want to do. I don't think it registered, but that's what we're facing is people are frightened, they're unsure of the future. Well, we all are. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow or within the next 15 minutes. So
I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of this interview.
probably not.
Well, you never know. I mean, you tell the kid that he can be whatever he wanted to. You know, you've got to plant the seeds. Even if you're not there to see it grow.
I don't know. I hold up a couple recent examples of how minorities can achieve things.
Yeah.
I think Ben Carson is one of the most outstanding men I have ever seen.
Well, Gary, again, I want to thank you for everything
thank you.
did. Really do appreciate it. Really appreciate you coming here.
What?
I really appreciate you coming here.
Well, I appreciate your invitation to come, and
All right.
I hope I haven't said anything that was out of line, but
Oh, believe me, we've done a lot of things that would get us kicked off air. Yeah, we'll just add this to the list.
did you ever interview Willie York?
I gotta go, man. They're gonna cut me off. Gary, thank you very much. Everybody else, we'll catch you next week.